while we're in regular session now, the council did take action under executive session items A and B, the personnel related, we want to share the action taken. But under item C, Boyd Task Force was also discussed with no action taken. We'll move to community comments and concerns. Jimmy, come on up.
Who's you?
If you could push the button, because we do have a council member who is remote.
The red button?
The right one.
The right one?
You're good. You're on.
Oh, sorry. When I thought about coming here today, I had to kind of think in terms of what to do, what to share. Part of this is, the new year coming, thinking about things in the past. And so today I put on Facebook about when I was younger, a lot of us that were younger, how we would go around and wish people Happy New Year, and we'd have hominy soup, and we'd get little treats and stuff. The older ones, as they went around and wished people Happy New Year's, they get a shot of muscatel. And one of the things that was pretty common was having the hominy soup. So it was kind of remembering those things today. I have my cane here. Last month, my grandma, Margaret Baker, was at Morris. So it was 60 years that she passed away. And this is her cane that she had. And it was right here. And it's given back to me about 10 years ago. So it's probably like about 75 years old she would have used. And so I guess part of wanting to share this is things from the past. And what I also wanted to mention or ask or suggest, and I hope that it doesn't find anything, but it seems like almost every day, not only in the last couple of days, last month, last year, every day it seems like you're hearing about somebody that has cancer or having to deal with cancer. And very, very difficult for a lot of people. The other part is wondering, well, why? How is that happening? What's going on? And so over the last 2 years, different ones have said, well, maybe it's because of our water system. Back in the early 60s, as we were starting to get the community water system, things started changing. And at one point, from what I understand, they had a fluoridated water system. I don't know if they still do or if it's and our water system to make sure that really healthy treatments. But people have said over the years that they think one of the reasons we have so much cancer in our community has to do with our water system. Who knows? And there might be efforts.
I know. It's not.
May I finish, please? May I finish, please?
All right.
Again, people as they're trying to understand this, they're thinking maybe it's this, maybe it's that. There might be efforts going ahead with this, and there are great. If not, that's why I thought I would come here and make a suggestion that it's time that some kind of study, some kind of assessment, some kind of thing is done to look at cancer in our communities. And like maybe the last year, and I'm just throwing this number out, maybe we had 20 people that have been affected by cancer. And of course, there's all different kinds of cancers. And so if we look at that in our community, even if it's one person, it has a major effect not only on the person, but the family and the community. So again, maybe in the last year, we had 20 different, deaths that have happened related to cancer. So in thinking about this, my main suggestion is that maybe it would be time for Red Cliff to somehow do an in-depth study, an in-depth assessment over the last maybe 20 to 30 years about cancer in our community to try to come up with, what's causing this, what is the reason. Again, people have said, well, maybe it's the water system. Maybe it's because people that are smoking, and that leads to cancer. It could be a lot of different things. And I know that there's been different studies that have been done, not only locally, but regionally, statewide, nationwide, through the Great Lakes and Tribal. There's the Immunology Center that they've done some studies. But usually it seems like they're like an overall thing instead of like specific, say like to Red Cliff. And so maybe it's time that we do something specific just to Red Cliff. But the one part of the challenge of this that I see is when you look at trying to do something and compare it. We might have had 20, I just threw that number. We might have had 20 in the last year in our community that really has a major effect on this whole community in this area. When you get into the numbers at the regional or the state or national level, 20 doesn't really mean much to them. It means a lot to us. So what I wanted to encourage through the tribal council or maybe down through administration programs is look at a way to get some kind of funding, even if it's tribal funds, to do this in-depth study of just Red Cliff to try to come up with some, realization or some answers of why we have such a high, it seems like such a high rate of cancer in the community, and then maybe to be able to do something from there to try to help with that. So I offer that tobacco to you. I wanted to do that in a good way because it's something that affects all of us. It's devastating. Be good.
Thanks, Jim. There's a way to get some of that information that's specific to Red Cliff instead of that aggregate like you were mentioning. Oh, it's just like all lumped together. Then if administration has interest in that, just send a written request to Great Lakes to focus on for Red Cliff, because they can do that, and then identify different types of cancers that we're dealing with here, and then kind of at least formulate some type of a plan for or help the clinic to do a deep dive into trying to figure out what causes these types of cancer and trying to maybe identify the point of source. Because we all have those questions. We all, why? We see so many people with different types of cancers and wonder what, if it is our water, if it's something within on the land or within the air.
There's an article too that was published or given in ABNC.com where they're talking about diabetes in our tribal communities and how different places are looking at that to try to help curtail that or reduce that. And some of it also relates to the kind of food that we eat now compared to 20, 30, 50 years ago. It's different.
It's funny you mention that because it's. I actually had a dream about it this morning of talking about. I can't remember who the individual was. I'll have to process this to remember, but they're talking about just that and mentioning it's the foods that we're always known to consume now, and that we have to beyond our more traditional diet. And I kind of started chuckling a bit when you mentioned that, just because was talking to is telling me, and I don't know why it was specific to diabetes either, but, you know, just having this conversation with somebody that, maybe because of probably all the crap I was eating that I should be, and thinking about it, maybe my New Year's resolution, you know. But, you know, there are different studies, and I was out at conferences with a group called Southwest, even a Pueblo or something, that they found all these old seeds, and they started growing their more traditional foods, and they had a group of people that went solely on their traditional diet that goes back, and it, you know, just even shortly after they started, how they started turning their health around, and, you know, the diabetes and everything else, how it's, you know, just from eating certain things and excluding things that, how big of a difference and how fast it worked. So, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense.
We do. We work with our concern that we can gets a lot of families, people's homes trying to deal with that disease, cancer, real worthwhile. I'm really concerned, because I'm concerned about the actions that this tribe may have been aware of or may not have been aware of extending the whitetail deer season back in January. Recently, I've been asked by people, is the season extended? Oh, not that. No, I don't know. I don't know if it was or not. But it was. It was extended. And I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about that for our tribe to be hunting and shooting pregnant does. Very concerned about that. That kind of goes against our traditional belief. Kind of let it rest. And in the summertime when that Wawakisi, you see the Wawakisi, then you go hunting deer. 2 years ago when I was on Voice, and I don't know, maybe the Voice rep brought this up or whatever, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there, what the process is. But 2 years ago, that issue came up on Voice, and certainly the Voice moved forward with extending the season. There were two tribes that kind of wanted to do that. And I kind of learned long ago that sometimes you go with the wind, or you have to go against the wind, what you believe in. And at that time, 2 years ago, elders and spiritual leaders were consulted. And they said, no, let them rest. But of course, it's up to each tribe if they want to extend it. At that time, I was Voice rep then, and I expressed the concern to the council then that we probably should not do it because it violates our belief. Let that deer rest. Don't be killing the pregnant deer. This year, 40% of the deer population is declining. Last year it was 30%. So 40 times 30, 70% difference between 4 or 5 years ago and the deer population. The deer are struggling. They're struggling right now. And I was quite surprised that that there wasn't a discussion on that. There wasn't a discussion on that, that it not be done. I understand, void stipulations were approved by the council. And there may have been in the stipulations that there was a clause in there to extend the deer season. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it happened or what happened. I'm very concerned about that, about our tribe following the wind with everyone else. It's been expressed by spiritual leaders and elders to let it rest, let it rest. And I think I'm requesting the council here to take another look at that. Take another look at that and let it rest. I mean, maybe bucks only, fine. But I'm saying that right now it's very crucial for the sustainability and management of the new population to not shoot those. They're pregnant. You know, they're pregnant. And we were all up in arms when the state of Wisconsin did a mine and hook hunt, and a few years ago in February, the moose was pregnant. This ain't no different. To me, this ain't no different. Some people may say, yeah, well, they get pregnant in November. Well, that's a gestation period. During November, you hear that. Not in November. But right now, it's crucial for that deer population to be mindful of that. That's an old-time belief, just to let it rest. Let that deer rest. Go on and eat something else. You know, go eat something, eat some fish. People say, well, we're going to do that deer hunt. And the deer hunt because we're starving. Well, I don't think we're starving out. And I think 2 years ago, it was at the voice level for to extend the deer hunt because the state of Wisconsin was doing extending the deer hunt down in the southern part of the state. Well, if the white man can do it, then we can do it. And what I'm saying is we don't always have to follow what the white man does. That's what I'm saying. We don't always have to, because they do it, then we can do it. It's in violation of our traditional beliefs. Our belief that you let that animal be respectful, and you let that animal rest. And I was quite surprised. I mean, I attended some voice meetings last 2 or 3. I don't recall that coming up unless I wasn't listening at the meetings. And I was quite surprised that our voice reps, they may have spoke up on the issue. But I'm speaking up now. I'm speaking up now as a member of this community, as an elder, and hearing that our tribe has agreed to go on and extend that season. I think it's wrong. You may have or may not know them, have to begin. We're trying to be very respectful here with it. I'm more concerned about the resources of the deer. I'm very concerned about mine, and I'm very outspoken on that. And I've been taught, and I told you I've been taught again that somebody has to be a voice for that lower station too. We're suffering. We're suffering. You go up there and you drive around, even our own reservation. I mean, even our own reservation. I think there's a point where we have to take a very serious look at that, even within our own reservation, even within the cedar territory, about that our species. So that's what I came here and I wanted to share with the council. I think the right thing to do, with rescind that extension of the season to bucks only. not the pregnant females. Not the pregnant females. That's what I wanted to request. Neil,
Which one? I can't recall when that came to the council. It was just within the last few months. So I don't know the specifics about what individuals are allowed or not allowed to hunt, so I can't speak to any of that. But we can look it up and definitely get all the facts.
we still have time, to make that happen.
What's January?
It's the beginning of the month.
And I don't know the specifics, and I think that was posted as well. But I don't know for sure.
It was part of the suite of changes that council passed in approving the void stipulation amendments when you did that. I want to say maybe a month ago, it may have been more than 4 meetings. Sometime from last.
I think it was a November 21st meeting, but I'm not certain. I'm just trying to look at the packet. But we can get all the facts, and I appreciate the feedback.
It may have been in your packet, but I'm just saying that if you slip by or whatever, and I'm really not.
I recall having the discussion, and I recall David Grant having a lot of feedback as well about the situation, and so there was a lot of discussion that went into it. I don't believe that the council makes any rash decisions, and that they were provided all the information, but I have to look at my notes and the information I was given us to recall exactly.
All right, I'm not saying no harm. I'm just saying that there's something going on there with the herd. There's something going on with the herd. And to perpetuate that herd, don't shoot the door. If you shoot one door, you shoot two. That's the idea. And I don't know if that discussion took place November 21st or whenever that was or not, but I'm saying it now. We have throughout history had bucks only hunting. And that's part of the reason why we have bucks only hunting. Because at that time the bird was kind of dire straits. You give the chance when you question the council, you send that and do bucks only hunting.
Good for that information, Mark. If there's no more community comments, we're going to move on to the agenda to the Advancing Informal STEM Learning Grant Period.
Hey, Happy New Year, you. All right, so this grant is from the UW Earth Partnership Funds. So we already sub-granted from that. So it's getting kind of hot. I think I first heard about rights before or after Thanksgiving. And it's been doing that now. We got COVID, then we got a cold, and then my wife got an infection, and I got pneumonia. So it's a mess kind of threw it together here. So the Earth Partnership folks, they're finding out.
I'm going to motion to approve.
Second.
That's it, we wish.
I think it's all really self-explanatory. And I appreciate you coming back because Jared did want to bring it in December and we weren't ready and he was sick. And so we have a motion on the floor by Nora and a second by Scott. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion
We
carries.
wish, Happy New Year. I had a little spiel too, if that's. I guess it was nice.
Have a nice day off, Jared. All right, Ashley, Tom, your turn. Fish hatchery maintenance grant.
Yes, good morning. The fish hatchery maintenance grant comes from BIA, and it's typically funding that we apply for annually so that we can complete outstanding maintenance projects on the fish hatchery. And
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nora, a second by Rick. Any questions? questions for Ashley about the grant? I don't know.
Questions?
We know it. You wish. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We'll move over to the FEMA cybersecurity grant, and Evan is with us remote. Hey Evan, good morning.
Good morning, Council. Thank you for letting me come in today, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
These next two agenda items are linked. The first one is for the FEMA cybersecurity grant. FEMA has provided a NOFO that allows people to develop their cybersecurity program while they do authorize money for equipment purchases. What's really going on here is they are working with tribes to help establish the strategies, employee development, and other aspects to that. We found one company that is willing to work in that aspect called Infotech, and they've made an offer and assisted us in putting together the cybersecurity grant application. Although I will give the great credit for the development of most of the paperwork to Melissa over in the planning department. She's done wonderful there. And we're asking the council to approve the request for, forgive me, I have to change screens here, for our nomination for Infotech to come in and provide, simply saying, security development and CISO capabilities to include strategy, to include documentation, and policies and things like that the tribe should need. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to target what was left over in the 2022 NIST inspection, which was most of that. Part of what FEMA is suggesting is that we put together an advisory group, which is the next item on the agenda, and
Non-competitive?
yes. Yes, it is competitive.
I know that's first running. That wasn't competitive.
Yeah, I believe our area 5 got 3 million and change. And so that's what we're competing for. So we did, basically the intention is just for this as a requested mandatory. I believe that there are 5 other tribes who have asked for it, and they are looking at approvals, I believe, because it hasn't been granted yet. But this will be the one thing that we're asking for specifically, and we'll put in a couple of opportunity-based requests in the form of some software, a cybersecurity solution, and some switches, some higher programmable switches that do network cybersecurity monitoring, as well as the things that normal switches do. But those will be in the option.
I'm so confused, actually, because the memo says 230, just so you're clear, it's $231,000. What we're asking.
Yes,
And he's also asking to use non-competitive, put in the proposal with non-competitive procurement approach.
I'm sorry, say that last thing again.
You're also asking to procure non-competitively with Infotech, correct?
Yeah, we're asking for single source because that company is the only one that has all the objectives covered in what we're trying to do with this grant.
So that have to include a waiver of the procurement policy.
Correct. That's going in with the application.
Yeah, it's just the council is approving the justification for non-competitive. Sometimes we put it in the proposal if we know that it's the only source, but
So you want me to rescind the motion?
you can approve it if that's what the council wants.
Well, I mean, the administration is uncomfortable with it. They're the ones that deal with it if it comes through.
I've only seen this little bit of information that Evan has provided me as well, saying that they're the only company that can do this stuff, and I find that very hard to believe.
I'll rescind my.
So, The answer to that, most organizations do provide some CISO support in relation to the equipment they sell. For example, if I were to purchase a firewall, then it would support with whatever sections of that normally. Or I would go off and start asking for high levels consultation. This one is specific to the organizational makeup, strategy development, and that slide back up. Security, government, risk, compliance, incident response, threat intelligence, cybersecurity, resilience. It's not that other groups don't do it, it's just this group concentrates on it, and this is their one main product. And I would have to chew it up and go across multiple organizations to get the same thing.
Well, couldn't it be submitted with a full package to provide everything, and then it'd probably end up being them anyways, after it was solicited for bid?
I don't know how it's gonna move to FEMA, that we're inclining this group, because they probably know a hell of a lot more about this than we do, that competitively, they're gonna say, why are they choosing only that person? I just don't know that that's competitive in saying, in grant proposal right now. We did the homework, we have an estimate, so we can show them that we have done some work, we know the ballpark, and I told him, I asked him to put a contingency on that too. But, I mean, maybe, I don't, in my experience, if you're doing a feasibility, which is basically what this is, and it's helping us make a plan, you're not asking for sole source. Like, you want to be competitive in the market. But I don't know enough about this FEMA cybersecurity project to say that sole source means our competitive approach.
Change the language.
Can you approve the
Hello? I'm sorry, it froze.
Evan, is there a timeline for this submission? I don't know if
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm pushed into this. The timeline for submission is January 10th. So if what you're looking for is for me to show you other companies, I can do that this week and provide it to you as a poll vote if necessary.
Well, I don't think it's a question of just showing within the document yet. I mean, I think the proposal that we put together with your equipment identified with the estimated cost, but limit the language of sole source with the company.
You just reference the estimate in the proposal, and you still agree to bid competitively for the service.
Okay. I can work on that. And I'll get that to you. Cassette.
Yeah.
So, to that end, and not related to the quote, but related to the NOFO, is a standard that FEMA is saying that there must be a creation or creation of a cybersecurity committee, or and as they say, term that we like to use. And well, in the package you have is this cybersecurity advisory group, which would be a group that we recommend that I recommend that be sponsored by the executive, the chair, and then run through a series of experts in their areas. And it's not just computers, it also includes physical security, it also includes safety, it also includes camera security, it also includes all other areas. So in the current draft that we have that was submitted, includes the departments involved, and then we make recommendations, take them to the chair, and then we identify that as an advisory group. Some of the other advisory groups like business resilience and things like that. And so we're asking for permission to create that advisory group, and then when bylaws are all agreed upon, that's when we'll take it to the chair for authorization and signature.
So you're only looking for that if we're applying for this grant? Or
Well, it's something we should-
regardless?
It's a good idea that came from the grant. It's something that should be done. We have multiple perspectives on what is security for the tribe, and we have some of it that are binary, ones and zeros. There's some of it that are cameras or optical. There's some that are physical, the alarm systems and things like that. And to manage security and to do that, it was a good idea from FEMA, and I believe that they're in the right to say, hey, you should have that. And so I'm taking that recommendation and stepping it up into an actual action. But yes, the grant requires it.
For the grant, Evan, just to be clear what the council is or is not approving, is the two objectives: to develop the cybersecurity planning committee or advisory group, whatever we're gonna call it, the tribal group, and develop or implement and revise a cybersecurity plan. And I'm not
Right.
understanding why the budget is broken down to a membership with Infotech Core, but what we're approving is a third-party contract with somebody to develop that cybersecurity plan.
Understood?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you, is that right? Because we're, may or may not be agreeing to a membership with Infotech, and I don't want to mislead you that that's what the council is approving.
No, that's what, yeah, well, that was my current answer at the time. This was a result of me trying to solve the problem through what I found down at TribalNet. They were the only company that works on this specifically, out of 300 plus vendors. So that's how I reacted to it. And when we got the NOFO, I brought them in and had them help me work this out.
Which is cool, but that does not mean we need to sole source with them. And you
Understood.
can write that in the proposal, you can compensate them for the time that they gave us in helping develop this proposal. That may be allowable, I don't know, but I still have discomfort in securing something with Infotech as a membership
Okay.
for 3 years. Especially without legal reviewing all of this and just not knowing that that's what we need to create a cybersecurity plan.
Understood. I'll go back to Mark.
$231,000 is the amount. I'm comfortable applying for the funds.
I'll make a motion to approve with, cybersecurity advisor.
Second.
We have a motion by Brian, second by Scott. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Thank you, Evan, for tuning in. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Drive safe. Bye. Item E on our agenda is a business development corporation application. Do we know how many vacancies we still have?
There's at least 2 or 3.
I want to say it's 2.
Yeah.
So we still have one open if we chose to appoint this person.
Correct.
You guys see the applicant?
I'll make a motion to appoint the applicant.
We have a motion by Nora to appoint the applicant. Sure. The applicant is Diane Best.
Second.
We have a second by Brian. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, abstentions,
I abstain.
one abstention. Motion carries. All right, Dave, registration of tribal insignia.
Should council have to do this. There was a covered email that explained some of this. The United States Patent and Trademark Office maintains a tribal insignia database. It's not the same as getting a trademark, which is something that we really don't need. You can always trademark your logo, but unless you're using it in commerce, it's really a game. Even if you're using it in commerce, it's a game of whack-a-mole. But unless it's really worth it for you monetarily, there's no need to trademark it. But if someone else tries to trademark something that has a tribal insignia on it, the creation of this database means the red flag goes up. The United States Patent and Trademark Office, and they be less likely to approve an application that includes your logo. There aren't many tribes who've taken advantage of this. This came up when I was researching a project. I can't remember which one. And I thought, oh, gee, maybe it's something you'd be interested in doing. And she said, yeah, let's get in on that. I think there's only 5 or 6 tribes who've actually registered their insignia. I'm recommending that you do so and seeking your approval.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Brian and a second by Butch to approve. Any other discussion?
Discussion, this has actually been a conversation, was even years back, of how we protect it.
We can't, or you can't hear because.
Oh, this is actually, conversation goes back years ago of trying to put protections in place for our locals and insignias. So it's good that it's coming up.
Yeah, I appreciate Dave following up on everything I asked him.
Agreed.
Question?
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. We'll move on to chapter 17, our quick code of laws.
This is back, previous action authorizing post, it's now been posted. This makes changes to chapter 17 that reflects actual practice with regard to you having really only one compliance position as opposed to a compliance director.
Executive director.
Any comments back there?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Were there any comments?
No. Seeking.
just to remind everybody that these numbers come directly from MIP.
That's on her end. She's not that close to
I apologize,
her.
I left my cheat sheet at work, so I'm just going off of the one on the, in the diligent part. But if anybody right now, I don't have nothing that sticks out as a major concern or anything.
I do. How come it's red, negative at the end of October? Is that because of the end of the fiscal year? And all
Yes.
the recoveries that we're waiting for?
Yes, because I think we're probably getting more accurate at the end of December, because a lot of the grants get that 90-day period to close them out.
That stood out to me right away, because usually at the top they're both black at least.
Yeah. I know that stuck out for me too, and that was one of my questions I asked, and that's because of like, we gotta get all the grants and stuff closed out. Because this is only October's, more accurate one would be done in December.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Nora and a second by Brian. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, abstentions?
Aye.
One abstention, motion carries. Any other business?
What's that?
Any other?
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Miigwech Council.
Good luck.
Yeah, just a quick question. One of the things that I brought up at last council meeting in regards to the IEC FM, where that policy came from, and is it tribal, and can it be changed in regards to taking, from the grants and stuff, right off the top, like it's supposed to, versus applying those rates to expenditures? It's really effing us up, and it's really dragging things out in regards to being able to take care of what the tribe needs to take care of. And creates a shit ton more work like that for our accountants and everything else. So if that policy is tribal, it could be amended to be able to take that IEC and FM off the top of the grants right away, so there's no more of this god-awful traffic.
January retreat.
We're talking about that again?
Yeah, I have
All right.
it under the finance section. So
Okay.
we're not just gonna look at people's quarterly reports at the retreat. If there are specific things that you guys have been discussing that you want to know about, that's what we'll have presented, and then we have some suggested action at that time for some other things. 'Cause there's some business we need to get done at the retreats and not just these quarterly reports that we
Right.
read.
I hear you.
So we do have that on the agenda that I just sent these guys, and we
Okay.
have a follow-up meeting tomorrow,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
It was just a question I had. I don't want to drop, like, I really want to know.
Yeah, I haven't forgot.
Thank you.
I haven't forgotten either, Ernie.
Live.
If there's anything else for the retreat that you really want to point out, otherwise our agenda is pretty full. And it is not just presentations by division administrators, it is business, working business. We have a lot of stuff to get done at the retreat.
I agree.
We need a motion to adjourn, folks.
Don't move.
We have a motion by Laura, second by Rick. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 12:15 adjournment. Be good to everyone.
Have a good day, Council.
Be well, Lenore.
Eagle out, men.